Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Lazarova from Minister Lebouthier's office at the Canada Revenue Agency. So we'll just wait 1 or 2 more minutes for everyone to join the webinar, and then we'll be able to start. Okay, so we can probably get started. Thanks again for joining us. Once again, my name is Christina Lazarova from Minister Lebouthier's office at the Canada Revenue Agency. And I have my colleague, Caitlin, who's also on the line with us. She'll be able to address some of the more technical questions if you have any at the end. You've received yesterday by email our MP kit for tax season. So tax filing season started on Monday, which means that people can now file their taxes, and they have until April 30th for individuals. And the deadline for self-employed people is June 15. And I know that a lot of the MP offices provide help or are faced with questions from constituents regarding tax filing. So we wanted to make sure you got enough support and all the information to help you respond to your constituents. So for those of you who've looked through the MP kit, basically what we sent you, and this is the presentation we'll be following as well, is I'm just going to make sure you have the right slides up. But so the MP kit you have is a presentation you can use. So it's a presentation you can use also for constituents if you have community groups or anything like that and you want to provide information to them. But what's important to know also is that those of you who've gone through it is that there's a lot of information also in the notes section. So for each of the slides, you'll see that we've added some web links and additional contact information and things like that, which you can refer to if you need to provide assistance to your constituents. So let's start right away. Basically, what the presentation covers: why pay taxes, why tax filing matters, important dates for 2019, steps for completing a tax return, then managing tax affairs online. Then I'll give you some information about the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. And in Quebec, that program is called the Income Tax Assistance Volunteer Program because it's run jointly with Revenu Quebec. And then we'll go over benefits and credits and then tax scams. So let's start away with why pay taxes. Well, taxes pay for the services and support our community's needs. So it's important for everyone to file their taxes every year because we use the revenues to deliver benefits to lower income families, to students, to seniors, and persons with disabilities. And also individuals obviously need to file their tax returns if they want to receive or continue to receive certain benefits and credit payments. Basically, when they file their taxes, they can receive a refund, continue receiving benefit and credit payments. But if they don't file their taxes or don't file them on time, there's interest and penalties that are applied to tax filers who owe money to CRA. A few things that constituents need to know. So as I mentioned, it's important to file on time. So the deadline is April 30th for individuals. So they can already file, but you'll see that the crunch, like most people file a bit later in March or in April because some of them are still waiting to get, all their receipts or their T4s and all that. But it's good to, get ready for tax season now because some people do file early. You'll see that some of your constituents probably have the impression that tax filing is very complex and takes a lot of time, but it's not always the case. And we're trying to make it easier for everyone to file their taxes. So we've especially improved online services a lot. So I mean, it varies from region to region, but across Canada, over 90% of people file their taxes online now. So we have various services that I'll go through that have made it easier for people to do that. And we also have obviously still paper tax forms available and all that for people who wish to file on paper. I'll go through the Community Voluntary Income Tax Program in detail a bit later, but on that slide you also have the contact information for CRA if people need assistance at any point during tax season. You also know, I assume, like some of your offices have used it, but there's the problem resolution program, the PRP, which your offices, you have contact information that is specifically for MP offices. So this is for more complex cases or cases that haven't been resolved through like the CRA general inquiries route. So these numbers are only for MP offices to use and to refer cases to CRA. If you don't have the contact information, let us know. Get in touch with our regional desks at CRA and we'll be able to provide that again for you. You should also know that, I mean, if you have constituents who have problems and who wish to file a complaint on services, there's a service complaints program. So you have the contact information in the notes section in the slides as well for that. But with the problem resolution program, we're able to resolve a lot of cases. So that's a good program to use as well. So in terms of important dates for 2018, as I mentioned, tax filing season is already open as of Monday. And people have until April 30th to file. March 1st is another important date because it's the deadline for contributing to an SP. And then June 15, as I mentioned, is the deadline for self-employed individuals to file their taxes. They should keep in mind, however, that if they owe money, if they have a balance owing, that's still due on April 30th. So they should make sure to file their taxes earlier for that. So in terms of the process for completing a tax return, so first, people need to collect their slips and records, and they can use My Account. I'll go over that a bit later, but basically, we have online, people can sign up to create an account that offers them access to many services online. And we encourage people to use that. But one thing they can do is basically they can access their T4s and a lot of information that's already available in their account. Then the second step would be get information about deductions and credits. So there's a lot of information available online on our website about benefits and credits. I'm sure that a lot of your offices are familiar with them as well. But basically, they can be claimed to reduce the amount of tax payable that people owe. And then the third step, once that is done, people can file their return. So there's different ways of doing that. So as I mentioned, people can file online. So more than 90% of people do that now. And there's free software available. So the way that works basically is that CRA certifies the software that can be used for tax season, because we have to make sure that it has like all the features and information, and that all the all the information reflects like the current state of the tax system. So on our website, we have a list of software that are certified, and some of those that software is available for free. So you can direct people to that if they wish to file their taxes online. And it's very easy because it's basically a questionnaire style, software. So people just have to answer the questions like relevant to their tax situation, and once they file, the information is basically forwarded automatically to the CRA. Another way to file is by paper. So what we're doing once again this year is that we've mailed the paper version of the tax package to all the people who filed on paper last year, because these are the people who are most likely to file on paper again this year. So these have been received by February 11th, so by last week. So if people haven't received them, there's other ways for them to get them. So there's tax packages in paper version available at Canada Post locations, Service Canada, as well as Caisse Populaire Desjardins in Quebec. And if we've provided enough copies, but it's hard to predict, obviously, like how many copies are going to be used. So if people can't get them at those locations, or if they wish to order them by phone or online, that's possible. And the forms can also be printed from the CRA website. So there's a lot of options, to get the paper copies. And then the third option for filing your taxes is File My Return. So this is something we introduced last year, which is basically for people it's for eligible people with low or fixed income who have a situation that remains unchanged from year to year. So CRA has identified all those people from the records we have, and these people have received a letter inviting them to call a number. And once they call that number, they can basically file their return over the phone. They answer a number of simple questions about their tax situation. So that's been it was used a lot last year from the people we sent letters to. So normally they would have received those letters already, but if they haven't, they can contact CRA, obviously, but it's only for people who've been identified by the CRA as being eligible and as having, lower fixed income and a situation that remains unchanged. In terms of other information I can give you, so for that section, so the fourth step, issuance of the notice of assessment. So basically, once people file their taxes, they receive what we call the notice of assessment, which basically tells them if they if they're going to receive a refund or if they have to pay an amount owing. If they have an amount owing, there's several ways of paying. So they can use online banking, debit card, credit card, pre-authorized debit. All that information is in the notes of the PowerPoint presentation, so you can refer to that if people have questions. One situation you might encounter is that in some cases, people aren't able to pay the amount of the taxes they owe. What's important to keep in mind is that even if they're not able to pay what they owe, it's still important for them to file their taxes on time to avoid interest and penalties. And then for people who have a balance owing, they can contact, if they have a specific situation, they can contact the CRA because we may accept a payment arrangement, and there's different ways to make a payment arrangement, so through pre-authorized debit agreement, or so it's best to contact CRA for those cases. So once again, we've included all the contact information for that, like in the notes section in the slide, and it's also available on our website. And then for number 5, the last step is it's important to keep supporting documents once you file your taxes for a period of at least 6 years. So that would be like because in case like there's the review or there's anything like afterwards, that's what CRA recommends. In terms of how CRA is making it easy for people to file their taxes, so as I mentioned earlier, there's the list of certified tax preparation software that people can use. That's available on our website. File My Return, we cover that. So that's the phone service that people can use to file their taxes on the phone. And then CRA's Autofill My Return. We haven't covered that yet, so I'll tell you briefly about it. But basically, when people file their taxes online, if they use the Autofill My Return service, what that does basically is once you sign up for My Account online, you already have, like CRA already has a lot of information on your file that's available, and basically it autofills the information CRA has on file when you file your taxes, so people don't have to provide all that information. It's already autofilled, and then they just have to provide the information missing. So that's a great feature to make it quicker for people to file their taxes. Then the Community Voluntary Income Tax Program, there's a few slides on that, so we'll go over that a bit later. So Authorize a Representative is another thing that people can do, which we haven't covered yet. So basically, someone who wants to have like a close family member or someone else manage their tax affairs for them, they can officially authorize that person to do that on their behalf and be the official contact person for CRA and all that. So there's a form that they can fill out, and that's also available. Like, it's available on our website or through My Account as well if they want to do it online. And then in terms of managing tax affairs online, so My Account, My CRA, and My Benefit CRA, we'll go over that just a bit later in the presentation. There's a couple of slides on that. And then in terms of refunds and payments, so more and more people use direct deposit to get their refunds faster and payments on time. So, I mean, we encourage people to sign up for direct deposit. You have the information as well in the notes on where people can go if they want to do that. And then the payment options I mentioned, there's information about that as well. And then the resolving tax steps as well. So we can just move to the next slides, which are our online services. So I mentioned My Account, which people can sign up for, and all that is on our website. So it's easy to sign up, and then some of the services that people have access to, so they can view all their personal income tax and benefit information. They can also change a return. So if they've already filed their taxes, but they realize they forgot something or they made a mistake, they can go back and make the change through My Account online. They can change their contact information. They can view online mail as well. So instead of getting mail through like regular mail, they can view it online. They have all the information to authorize a representative as well. They can dispute an assessment or determination. So it's really like a one-stop service that people can use. And then we also have My CRA, which is an app, like it's on mobile devices. So it has a lot of the information that's on My Account. So people can view their return status, they can view and pay tax account balances, they can view mail, update their contact information, find CVITB clinics as well, and a lot more. So that's another thing that people can use. And then the third one is My Benefit CRA. So that's another mobile service, but that's specifically for benefits. So they can view the benefits they're entitled to. They can check their next payment dates as well, check the status of their counted child benefit application, update their status, direct deposit, and other personal information. So all that is available on our website if people want to get more information on that. And then next slide, so calling the CRA. So a lot of people, when they're looking for information or have an issue or questions, will be using our phone services. And we've worked to improve those phone services because, as you might have heard from some of your constituents, there's been some issues in terms of like wait times or accessing, being able to talk to someone and all that. So we've actually migrated the phone systems to the new hosted contact service center platform, and that happened in December. So now there's a number of new features. So people now get an estimated wait time to be served by an agent, and if someone's not available, they can choose to wait, they can call back later or use one of the self-service options. And we also now redirect calls to agents that are available from anywhere in the country, which was not the case before. And some of the other improvements also is that this is a bit more technical, but we use skills-based routing, which basically sends calls to the right agents faster based on the skill sets and the training they've received, because some of the questions we have are more specific or sort of, particular to their to certain situations. And we also have something else that we introduced last year, which is a new voice response system where basically people can call to confirm their account balance and last payment details without needing to speak to an agent. So that's easy if someone just wants to know what their account balance is. And something else which you see on the slide is that we have extended hours for tax filing season. So from this week until April 30th, the extended hours are, and you have that information in the notes in the slides, but we have agents available, so Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have our automated service, which remains available 24/7 as well. So we've worked on that quite a bit, actually, to make access to the phone services easier. And then to go back to some of the electronic service features, I mean, you have more information in the notes, but I mentioned the autofill. Another feature that we've introduced is email notification. So this is also used as a fraud prevention measure. So basically, if someone if there's a change in someone's account, so if their address has changed, or banking information for direct deposit or authorized representative or anything like that, they can get email notifications letting them know that there's been a change in their account. And same for if they get new correspondence, they can get email notifications as well. So this is something that people can register for through My Account or My CRA mobile web app. In terms of some of the other things here that I haven't mentioned, so I mean, the NOAA is the Notice of Assessment, but we have an Express NOAA service. So basically that allows people to get their Notice of Assessment instantly after they've filed their return electronically. And to get this, you have to be registered for online mail. Like, all the details you'll see are in the notes for the presentation. Direct deposit, we talked about it a bit. Something we haven't covered is the link between My Account and My Service Canada account. So basically, people can log in once to access the services, basically within like a single session. So they don't need to log in or validate their identity with each organization. They can do it both with Service Canada and CRA at the same time. So it's one user ID and password, and then they can have access to anything that's related to their tax file, but also information about, employment insurance, Canada pension plan, old age security, anything that falls under Service Canada. Some of the other features we have is people can submit documents online as well. So instead of having to mail documents and, not being sure if they were received and avoid the delays for that as well, people can basically send supporting documents through My Account. They can basically just scan them and send them, and they get a confirmation number and a reference number for that. And then the last one, My Payment. So this is basically like the electronic payment services that people can use directly online. So then we can move to the next slide. So I'll give you a bit more information on the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. So this is a program, and same for the Income Tax Assistance Volunteer Program in Quebec that's run with the Revenu Québec. So this is for people who have a modest income in a simple tax situation. And it's a program that's run by CRA. So CRA basically recruits community organizations across the country who run these free tax clinics. Most of them are held from now, like usually start around like end of February until the end of April, because this is the crunch of tax season. But some of them are also open year-round, so people can access those services year-round as well. And I'll give you a bit more information about the program itself. So it's grown quite a bit, and we've put more resources into it as well, because it's a great resource to help people file their taxes. So this is the data for last year, but in 2017-2018, there were over 3,000 community organizations across the country who participated in the program, with over 17,000 volunteers, and they served over 700,000 people, and these people helped file more than 786,000 tax returns. And the program also offers basically, like, the CRA supports community organizations and volunteers who are participating in the program. So we provide promotional material, training for all those volunteers. We also offer the tax preparation software. And there's a dedicated helpline for volunteers. A lot of the volunteers are accountants who are retired, or people who obviously, have filed taxes and who are in a position to help other people with their their tax filing. So there's a high likelihood that there's a CVITB clinic in your community. So we encourage them, like if your MP hasn't been to one in the past, it's a great opportunity to get in touch with those community organizations and plan a visit and go see them. So online you'll find, like on our website, the list of participating clinics. So you can find one in your community if you wish to do that. And it's the same thing for in Quebec, for the Quebec program that's run with Revenu Québec. It's very similar as well. Like there's a list of community organizations and tax clinics. One question we get asked is who's eligible for those free tax clinics. So the suggested income level that CRA sort of gives, to participate in community organizations. So for one person, it's individuals who have an income of less than 35,000 people. For two people, it's 45,000. Three people, 47,500, or four people family would be 50,000. But these are only suggested income levels. So the eligibility criteria vary from clinic to clinic. Like some have bigger capacity and offer services to people who are outside of those ranges. So your constituents should check with their local clinic to see if they're eligible. And what we mean by a simple tax situation is people who either have no income or who have income from certain sources. So employment, pension, benefits, RSP, support payments, scholarships, and interest, and those who usually aren't eligible. So what we mean by people who don't have a tax situation are usually people who are self-employed or who have employment expenses, people who have a business or rental income and expenses, people who have capital gains or losses, people who are filing for bankruptcy, things like that. But it's always good to check with your local tax clinics to see if you're eligible. And then in terms of I mentioned it earlier, but if you have cases in your community of people who want to volunteer for those tax clinics, you can obviously put them in touch with the participating community organizations. And people can, for the organizations, if they want to take part, if you have community organizations who want to participate, they can complete the form online. And then we have CRA coordinators who are available to assist them as well. All the information is online. You have the web links here. And for individuals, they can also file a form to volunteer for the program. And then there's some record checks as well, because they'll be obviously dealing with personal information from people. So you have more information on all that, like in the notes section of the presentation, if you wish to take a look at that. And then in terms of, I mentioned earlier that filing your taxes gives you access to benefits and credits. So some of those benefits and credits, we have the GST/HST credit, the working income tax benefit, the child disability benefit, related provincial and territorial payments as well, the Canada Caregiver Credit, disability tax credit. So there's information on all that on our website. You have the link here. So if anyone wants to find out more and get the eligibility criteria as well and how to apply, it's all available on our website. And obviously Canada Child Benefit is an important one, so there's a bit more information there, but I know a lot of your offices are already pretty familiar with the CCB. Something else I should mention, so for benefits and credits, is I'll skip that slide on the new climate action, climate action incentive payment, and I'll come back to it, just so we can go over the next slide, which is the benefits review letter, because that's a link to benefits. It happens sometimes that CRA needs to verify information to make sure that someone is still available for a benefit. So, or if they notice a discrepancy, we just need to ask for confirmation or for additional information. So people will get those benefit review letters. And basically, like, CRA does that regularly, just reviewing just to make sure that the taxpayers get the correct amounts of their benefit payments and that they're eligible for those benefits. And what we've done is we have simplified letters now that ask for that information. So your constituents might get that letter, and it's important that they respond to those letters immediately, because if they don't, in some cases, the benefit can be suspended or there might be delays in getting their next payment. But what's important to know is that during the review process, the benefit payments don't stop. So it's just important that they respond once they get the letter, but until the review process is completed, the benefit payments won't stop. And then if the people, because it happens sometimes that people don't have the requested documents or need more time, so it's important to contact basically the number that's in the letter, and to see, because CRA has some flexibility in terms of that, obviously. So depending on the individual's situation, they can, just like work something out and see if another document can be used instead, or if there's other ways to confirm the information that's requested. So that's in terms of the benefit review letter. So I'll just go back quickly to the climate action incentive. And this is something new that we've introduced this year. And this is specific to only 4 jurisdictions, 4 provinces. So it's for people in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and New Brunswick. And this is linked to the pollution pricing system, which is falls more under the purview of environment. However, the way people will get the climate action incentive payment is by filing their taxes. So basically, like once they file their taxes, people in those jurisdictions will have a section on the climate action incentive. It's Schedule 14 in the tax forms, and it's based. All the amounts are available online, and we've also uploaded. I know that LRB has a climate action incentive MP kit, which it was uploaded yesterday, which has detailed information. So for people from those 4 provinces, I encourage you to refer to that MP kit, which has more information. But basically, like there's the basic amount, which is based on the province and on family composition, so the number of children, the number of people in the family, basically. And then there's a 10% supplement that is available for residents of small and rural communities, as defined by Statistics Canada. So there's also more information. We've included the website. So that's the CRA website for the Climate Action Incentive, which gives you more information on that from a CRA perspective. And then there's more information on Environment Canada's website as well. And if you have any questions, obviously don't hesitate to contact us. But there's quite a bit of information in the Climate Action Incentive MP kit that was posted by LRB. And then to go over tax scams, some of you might remember that in October you got an MP kit specifically on that, and it continues to be an issue, unfortunately. So Canadians are contacted by basically like people who are trying to fraud them. So there's contact information we've included in the notes of the PowerPoint presentation, but there's also more information in the MP kit we sent out, which is also available online, which you can refer to. So I know we also have some posters available and things like that, just to get the information out, like in your constituency offices for people, just so that they know what they should be looking out for. But basically, the CRA will never use aggressive language or demand a payment right away, or use some of the tactics that have been used by scammers. And we've also included, you have the information for the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, which people should contact if they're contacted by someone who tries to scam them. But if someone is actually a victim of fraud or have given personal or financial information or made a payment, they should contact their local police service in addition to the Anti-Fraud Centre. And then next slide, just so you know, like on our website, we have a lot of information for specific groups because those people can have, specific situations, and so there's tax information for those groups on our website, which you can refer to if you have any additional questions. And same, so the last slide is just some additional information as well, and you'll see that you'll have in the when we sent out the MP kit yesterday, the email with it also had a few web links where you can find some information. So you can definitely refer to it. So I can take questions, and Caitlin, who's on the line with me. And if they're, I guess, a bit more specific, we can get back to them individually. So one question we got from Jessica is, we're getting questions from accountants about the boundary lines for the climate action incentive statements. The maps do not have street addresses, and there doesn't seem to be a way to search by postal code. Is there a place to find out this information for people that border or maybe in the areas that do not qualify? So this is available. We can send you you might have checked it already, but it's we're using the Statistics Canada definition of a census metropolitan area. But we'll look into you're right, like it's not by postal code, but we'll look into what you're asking more specifically about, like, I guess people who are like bordering or who may be in areas that don't qualify. So we'll get back to you on that unless Caitlin wants to add anything on that. Next question, Michael asks, I just tried to download the MyCRA app. That's great. Like, I like that people are so proactive in downloading right away, but I cannot find it on the Android App Store. How do I find it? So if you go through our website, I haven't tried like downloading it from the Android App Store, but all the information is on the CRA website. So you can Google MyCRA app, or use the link that's in the presentation to access it, and then you'll have all the information on how to get it. Jocelyn says, you mentioned we can use the PowerPoint for community outreach. Can we share it as is? The PowerPoint is great. Links and additional details are very helpful. That's a good question. I don't think all the information in it is public, because it's mostly like from our website.
Hi, this is Caitlin. I think that it's totally okay to share that information. It's there. That's why we're providing it to MP, so that you guys can pass it on to your constituents. So I don't think there's any problem with doing that. Sorry, I got disconnected. I was trying to unmute my phone and I hung up instead. But going back to the question about the rural top-up for the climate action incentive, there is online. If it's not there already, it'll be there shortly, and we'll send you the address through your respective regional desks. But there's a way of putting in your address and finding out whether or not you're within a rural area as defined by Statistics Canada. So that should be helpful in trying to identify whether or not you're entitled to that additional 10%. Just like everything about our tax system, it's a self-assessment. So you check the box, and honestly, it's not we expect the people to declare themselves as living in a rural area or not living in a rural area based upon the best information they have. It's a very small amount of money. So say that I think in Ontario, the base amount for a family of 4 is around $300. Maybe it's a little bit more than that. So we're looking at an additional $30. So it's, yes, we want you to go and find out whether or not you are in a rural area, but it's sort of low down on the list of trying to ensure compliance for the CRA, if you get my drift.
Mm-hmm. And just to go back to the PowerPoint, I checked, and yeah, the only information you shouldn't be sharing, and we've made sure it's not in the PowerPoint, is the contact information for the problem resolution program for the PRP, because that's only for your office's use, but the numbers are not in the PowerPoint, so yeah, definitely feel free to use it. So next question, what slips and documents are required for new refugees to file their tax return? So I encourage you to go on our website to the section on refugees. It's going to have more information because I don't have the information on hand right now. But if you don't find it, feel free to get back in touch with us, and we'll look into it and send it to you. Let's see if there's any more questions. I think that's it for now. So if you have any additional questions in the next few weeks, like throughout tax season, feel free to get in touch with our regional desks at CRA, and you can definitely refer to the documents we've provided for tax season. So thanks a lot to everyone for joining.